today's topic is how to conduct a market survey for industrial and consumer products. Now, before I tell the technique of conducting the market survey, I would like to tell you why a market survey is required for consumer and industrial products. Basically, a businessman or an industrialist is interested in estimating the demand for his or her product. In that case, both in the case of consumer and industrial products, the best way to estimate the current demand potential for his or her product is to conduct a thorough market survey. The best procedure of conducting this market survey is through a questionnaire market survey, because that will give an unbiased opinion about the consumers and the feedback will be proper and the estimation of demand will be unbiased, and you will get a correct picture of the current demand potential for the product, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial products. Now, the end users of the consumer products are the households, whereas the end users of the industrial products are the industries which consume this product in their process of production. Therefore, while conducting the market survey, one has to be aware for which product you are conducting the market survey, whether you are conducting the market survey for consumer product or you are conducting the market survey for industrial product. If you are conducting a market survey for consumer products, you have to identify the consumer households who are pertaining to that area where you want to conduct a market survey. The market survey can be either a state survey or an all India survey, or it may be even a district survey for that matter. So, in that case, you identify the end users, that is the households for consumer product survey in the locality where you want to conduct the market survey. That is the first step of conducting the market survey. Similarly, in the case of industrial products market survey, you identify the industries for which you want to conduct the market survey in the area where you are trying to conduct the market survey. Now, here there is a problem. The population of end users is generally large, and therefore, we have to resort to sampling technique. So, the second step is to use the proper statistical technique to select a sample of end users for conducting the market survey. It is true of both consumer as well as industrial products. Now, there are major 3 or 4 statistical techniques which are used for conducting the market survey, taking the sample of end users. Now, the first is the simple random sampling, the second is the systematic sampling, the third is the stratified sampling, the fourth is the cluster sampling. Now, all these techniques I am sure you must have learnt in your statistics lessons. So, we can use any one of these statistical techniques and select a proper sample of end users. Note one thing, unless you use the statistical techniques to collect the end users and make a sample, your estimation of demand will not be unbiased. So, you have to use one of these statistical techniques to select a sample of end users. You can't just select ad hoc sample and then do the market survey, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial products. So, that is the second step. Now, the third step is to prepare the questionnaire for conducting the market survey. Here comes the difference. For consumer product market survey, the questionnaire is entirely different from the questionnaire for industrial product market survey. The basic reason because the end users of consumer products are households. So, the questionnaire of consumer products is addressed to the households, whereas the questionnaire for industrial products is addressed to the industries where this product is being used as in the process of production. Now, in the case of questionnaire for consumer products, we have a set of say 10 questions we can ask, because we do not want to take much time in conducting the survey. So, the time being limited, we can have sort of 10 questions for conducting the market survey for consumer products, and also 10 questions for preparing the market survey for industrial product. For consumer product market survey, the questionnaire runs like this. Question number 1, name of the head of the household. Question number 2 is the address of the household. Question number 3 is the number of members in the household. Then a part of that question, that is 3A, will be the composition of the members of the household in terms of both sex as well as age. So, in the case of sex, you will make 2 columns, male and female. Age you will have less than 5, then 5 to 15, 15 and 25 and 25 and above. Then the 4th question will be income of the household. The 5th question will be the name of the brand which you are purchasing at present. The 6th question will be the requirement for the entire household at present for the product. This will be in terms of either per month or per annum, whichever way the respondent responds. Then the next question will be, do you contemplate any increase in the above requirement in the next 1 or 2 months or 1 or 2 years if he is able to tell, otherwise 1 or 2 months. Then the next question, question number 8 will be, what price you are paying for the product at present. For it will be, the reply will be in terms of say rupees per kg and all that. Then the next question will be, are you satisfied with the product at present? You see, the answer will be in terms of either yes or no. Again, the sub questions for that question will be, if the answer is yes, why, and the alternatives will be either it is because of good quality or reasonable price or both. Well, if it is no, even then you have to ask whether it is because of the poor quality or high price or both, why you are saying no, it is not satisfactory. The next question would be, would you like to switch over to the new brand if it is made available in the market? Again, the answer will be in terms of yes or no. So, these are some of the questions, important questions, which should be covered in the market survey for consumer products. Now, let us turn to the questionnaire for industrial products. The first question will be the name of the industry using this product. The next question will be the address of the industry. That is very important. You must note down the address while doing the survey. The third question is the norm of consumption, that is in terms of the AIJ as they call it, that is per unit per year. It is the amount of I that is used by the jth industry per annum, and which is used in its process of production, that is called the AIJ, that is called also the technology coefficient, the norm of consumption. The next is the current production of the industry in terms of the units per annum, how much it is currently producing. The next question will be, do you have any future plans of expansion? That is very important, because if the industry is trying to expand, then they will require more of your product, and therefore, this question is a very pertinent one. Do you have any plans of expansion? The answer will be in terms of yes or no, and if the answer is yes, you have to also ask to what level the firm is going to expand. Then it will be, answer will be in terms of the units per year. The next question will be, are you satisfied with the quality of the product you are getting at present? That is very important. Again, the answer will be in terms of yes or no. If it is yes, then you have to again ask, what are the reasons? Say it is a good quality, reasonable price, or both. Then if it is no, again maybe it is because of poor quality, high price, and both. Then the next question will be, what is your lead time? That is important. In the case of industrial products, the lead time is a very important factor which determines the demand for the product for which you are conducting the survey. So, what is your lead time? The answer will be in terms of either it is a 1 week or a fortnight or 3 months or 6 months or whatever. Then the next question will be, at what price you are getting the product at present. So, it will be in terms of the per ton and all that, and the brand which you are purchasing. The next question will be in terms of the brand which you are purchasing. That brand is very important, name of the brand in the case of industrial product. Then the the last question will be, are you getting the product in time? The answer will be again in terms of yes or no. If yes, it is okay. You need not ask any further question. If it is no, then you have to ask the reasons why you are not getting the product in time. So, these are some of the questions which go into the industrial product market survey, which are very important to be incorporated. Others can be incorporated, but given the time and the cost and all that, it is enough to incorporate these questions while you are doing the survey. Then the next step after preparing the questionnaire is to locate a proper investigator to conduct the market survey. To locate a proper investigator is as important as conducting the market survey itself. Unless you locate a proper investigator to conduct the market survey, the estimation of demand will not be unbiased, and therefore, you will not get a proper estimation of demand. Both, it is true of both consumer as well as industrial products. So, locating a proper investigator is the next step as soon as you prepare the questionnaire. Then after locating the investigator and administering the questionnaire to all the end users which you have selected as sample using any of the statistical techniques which I have described above, you analyze the data which has come back to you, the questionnaire data, and eventually the last step is you arrive at the total demand for the product by analyzing the individual questionnaires. Supposing there are 10 questionnaires and for each questionnaire the estimation of demand is D1, D2, D3, D4, D5, D6 up to D10, then the total demand will be sigma Di, I going from 1 to 10. After preparing the questionnaire and choosing the proper investigator, we administer the questionnaire to sample of all the end users which have been selected by the statistical techniques which I have described above, and analyze the data from the questionnaire to arrive at the demand. Supposing there are 10 questionnaires which we have sampled for either consumer product or industrial product, then the total demand for estimation is D is equal to sigma Di, I going from 1 to n, n is small n, I mean. This gives the total sample demand. Then to arrive at the total population demand for the product, both for consumer as well as industrial products, we use the following formula. The total population demand is equal to n by n into sigma Di, again I going from 1 to small n, where n is the total population of end users. Mind you, this n is the capital N, whereas the earlier n was the small n, the sample size. So, this gives the total population demand which is obtained from the questionnaire market survey, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial products. The total population demand as estimated above from the questionnaire market survey data gives the estimation of current demand. The current demand which is there for the product as of now, I mean both for consumer as well as for industrial product. Now, this gives you an idea of the market potential which exists as of now for the product, and if it is an unbiased market survey which has been conducted by an unbiased and a proper experienced investigator, this will give a precise estimate of the current market potential for consumer as well as for industrial product, whichever the case be. Now, this estimation of current demand is very important for the point of view of the industry and also from the point of view of the individual company to which that industry belongs. Now, the current demand will give you an estimate of the current market potential. Unless you know about the current market potential for the product, you will not be able to plan the production accordingly. That is one. The second aspect is, if there are enough suppliers already there in the market, then the current demand potential estimation becomes somewhat more curious. You have to estimate the total population demand as given by the above formula, and then subtract the amount of supply that is coming in as of now into the market for the product, both for consumer as well as industrial product, and arrive at the market potential by subtracting the total demand from the supply, the existing supply. And if the difference is, that is the D minus S as they call it, is positive, then you have a current market potential for your product, in the real sense of the term, mind you. If S is greater than 0, if S is equal to 0, then the total demand as estimated by the above formula will give you the demand potential. Now, in case the D minus S becomes negative, then there is no market potential as such for the product as of now, and therefore, it is advisable for the industry or the company of which the industry is the whole, has to shift to another product which has got a market potential where D minus S will be positive. There is no point in pursuing that product where the market potential is less than 0, because in that case the profits will not be there. Therefore, in the current business scenario, which is most competitive as of now, as you know, it is very much essential to conduct the detailed market survey, arrive at the total population demand for your area, either it is a district or a state or all India, and in case the existing suppliers are there which are enough in number, then you arrive at the estimation of the market potential given by D minus S and judge whether D minus S is positive, D minus S is equal to 0 or D minus S is less than 0. In the first case, you go ahead with the commercialization of the product. In the second case, well, you stand a good chance, but the competition will be there, because there is exactly the D is matching with S. Whereas in the third case, you should never go ahead commercializing the product, because the potential is not at all existing. This should be carefully analyzed when you are starting a new industry or a new company for a specific product, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial product. Therefore, the importance of market survey as of today is very great, because the market survey will give you the exact estimation of the total population demand that exists for the product, and therefore, you will be able to estimate the current demand potential precisely only when you conduct a thorough market survey for the product. Again, I can just repeat, the most important aspects of market survey are: you have to identify the end users, you have to see that you select a proper sample of end users for conducting the market survey, then you prepare a proper questionnaire, which I have detailed above, about the 10 questions for both consumer and industrial products. Then you choose a proper investigator to conduct the market survey. Then eventually you arrive at the total population demand by analyzing the demand from individual questionnaires, as I have detailed above in the formulas. Now, once you are sure of the current demand market potential, that is D minus S is greater than 0, then you will have no problem in getting the profits once you commercialize the product into the market. Commercializing the product into the market, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial product, is very dangerous without conducting a proper market survey and arriving at the correct current demand market potential. So, conducting a market survey which is scientific in nature, using statistical techniques and all that, is very much essential for any industry or any company for that matter as of today, because of the competitive world that we are in as of now. The estimation of demand is as important as starting your own industry or your own company in that product enthusiastically once you have some money for investment. You can't just go ahead and invest into the product without estimating the proper demand. So, the importance of market survey, as you can see, is very, very great as of now in the business competitive world. Earlier also it was there, but now it has become more severe because of the openness of the economy and more MNCs coming into the market. Therefore, if you want to survive in the market, you have to estimate the current demand potential for the product using a scientific market survey, which has been detailed in this lesson. Now, the consumer products and industrial products differ only in respect of the end users. So, while preparing the questionnaire for industrial products, consumer products, you should be very careful about whom you are addressing to. The consumer products has to be addressed to the household. So, it should be of a different pattern altogether, whereas for industrial products it is addressed to the industries. So, it has to be of a different pattern altogether. Unless this point is taken care of properly, the questionnaire market survey will not be successful. And then the sampling techniques, which I underlined above, they are very, very important. You see, you must have learnt all these techniques in your statistics lessons anyway. So, I do not want to go into details of that, but the main techniques that are used in market survey are the simple random sampling, systematic sampling, stratified sampling and the cluster sampling. Now, stratified and cluster are used when the population is different in different areas in respect of composition, either it is sex, age or whatever. If there is a wide differences are there in region to region, then we use the stratified or cluster sampling. If the region wise or district wise or state wise composition is not very much different, then we can as well use the simple random sampling or systematic sampling. The simplest of all these techniques is the simple random sampling. Now, it depends on the time and the cost. If the time is there and the cost is not prohibitive, you can use the more sophisticated techniques of stratified and cluster sampling. If the time is short and the cost is prohibitive, then you should use only the simple random sampling or systematic sampling. But all said and done, you have to use a scientific statistical technique in order to select a sample of end users. At times when you are conducting a market survey, this point is always overlooked by the industrialists, by the persons who want to start industries. And these days, the financial institutions who are financing the projects, they have become very alert in analyzing the data which you supply to them in order to get the finance from the financial institutions and start the project. So, to make them convincing, the only way is to go for a scientific market survey. By scientific I mean using the statistical techniques for the selection of end users. So, once you adopt all these methods in a scientific manner, the estimation of current demand and the demand potential will be proper, and therefore, there is no reason why the industry or the company will not make profits, because the main emphasis on which the project or the commercialization of product depends is the estimation of demand. If the demand is there, if the demand potential is there, you should go ahead with the project. If the demand is not there, demand potential is not there, whatever technology you adopt, you will not be able to be successful in the project or the product which you are going to commercialize. It is true of both consumer as well as industrial products. So, the market survey technique which I have enumerated is useful both for industries which want to go in for consumer product and industries which want to go in for industrial products. This is one aspect. The other aspect is those which are existing industries, they want to go for expansion. Then in that case also this market survey is essential, because they should know to what level they should go for expansion. If they want to go for expansion, say about say 100 units or 1000 units, they can't just go on ad hoc basis, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial products. So, a market survey is required to find out how much expansion is feasible, whether it is 100 units or 1000 units, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial products. And all the steps which I have underlined above have to be taken into account even when you are conducting a market survey for the existing industries. For existing industries, the data collection is not much difficult, whereas for the new industries which are just being started or just being commercialized, the data is somewhat more difficult, because you do not have a what is called a something to fall back on, whereas in the case of existing industries you have something to fall back on. But anyway, all said and done, if you have a proper investigator, he can collect the data for both industries and companies which have just started and commercializing the product, both in the case of consumer as well as industrial product, as well as for existing industries which are there in the market and they want to go for expansion, both for consumer as well as industrial products. It all depends on your choice of investigator, it all depends on the proper questionnaire, it all depends on the proper analysis of data, and it all depends on how much you have taken pains in taking the sample of end users using the statistical techniques. All these aspects should be taken care of in order to arrive at the proper current demand potential.